Yeah, that's good. All right, next question. What is the best way to approach friends and family who don't agree with me posting and sharing them before us information, social media, links, etc., because they consider it hateful to alternative or modern or different families?
I go back to our Bible time from the beginning of this episode, the life of Christ in the Gospels. If what we share on a daily basis produces absolutely no strife or conflict ever, how does that mirror the life of Christ? And if it doesn't, we got to ask ourselves who changed, culture or Christ? Because I'm Christ. The things Christ said made people mad. The things Christ said produced conflict. He had people who hated the things he said, and because what he said threatened the structures they had built or relied upon, or the things they liked or wanted to keep, or ways they wanted to continue living. So there's part of me that goes, who told you that who told you that sharing this information was going to be well received, or that anything that we advocate for in the Christian life would be well received? That's a really bad expectation. And we do have to ask ourselves the question. We don't believe that culture somehow got way more Christian, and that's why they're pushing back. No, the culture is just as sinful today as it was when Christ was around. And so we should expect opposition. That's a good indicator that we're still preaching the same gospel that Christ preached.
Yeah, that's so good because, well, yeah, it's exactly, you're talking about the martyrs. There's people that are, this came up a lot for me with COVID when, the American church was told basically don't go to church, stay home, do it online. It doesn't really matter. And even you're loving your neighbor more if you don't go out and don't go to church, don't take communion, don't sing. And you just lay that alongside Christians around the world, where their thing is more like, if I go to church on a Christian holiday, the chance of me getting blown up is actually pretty high. Again, going back to Nigeria, if it's Easter, it's Christmas, it's one of the Christian holidays, there will be a giant attack on a church there. So it's just funny, the consideration of should I go or not go to church, and I think about my personal safety or what could happen to me. People around the world you see do it at great cost. And then we consider, oh, but someone's going to be irritated with me if I stand up. Or if I ask my boss, is it appropriate to hang the political flag during Pride Month? I don't feel comfortable with that, but I'm going to get some pushback or someone might be upset with me. And I say that as someone who has made comments, not actually even intending to cause trouble, but just I was asking genuine questions. And I've had situations where I feel like an entire room of people, my coworkers, turned against me. Like it was like chill. It was like frozen. Like, oh, this is what it feels like to be actually not liked by a giant group of people. It is the worst feeling. And we're social animals and creatures. And that is a scary feeling. So it's not like saying there's nothing there, but we just have to be willing to
And
do it.
I was going to say that the end of your question was, shouldn't we, I can't share this because it's harmful to alternative families or families that don't look like mine. So two thoughts. There's a version of that where I'm picturing the single mother doing this by themselves, and she's going to feel like, man, you're saying my family's incomplete. That's the argument you get sometimes. I personally have ran into far more single mothers doing it by themselves, oftentimes because they are or single fathers. My own grandfather was a single father raising my mother. And he would say she absolutely needed her mother. I mean, he would say that I was the only one willing to step up and be responsible, and her mother walked out. So that argument, I'm like, you're not going to offend someone who truly did stick and try to do the right thing. They were the first to say, this is incomplete, this is unfair, and I need help, and I deserved help. And quite frankly, all we do by erasing that other partner is in the service of inclusivity, not to offend, is making it harder for the kid that says, yeah, I wish my mom didn't walk out. And like, hey, you're going to make your dad feel like he didn't do a good job or that it was incomplete. It's like, I'm going to erase their pain Two, I'm going to erase their ability to voice that they wish their mom was there. No, the dad should say, yeah, I did the best I could, but it wasn't all that it could have been. And that's really unfortunate for you. And I wish it were different. So we got to be careful that in the name of inclusivity, we don't really erase the pathways to compassion for families that are doing it differently. And then on the flip side, there are those families that are intentionally creating motherless and fatherless children through IVF and other and surrogacy and I would say that on that, where they've essentially commercially purchased this fatherlessness or motherlessness. Well, I'm then it's really more of a question of who am I choosing to offend, the child or the parents? And yes, the adults may get upset with me for calling that out, but the child who has lost something, they deserve a voice more. Their pain at losing the parent deserves to be represented and talked about and advocated for and ultimately ended so it doesn't happen again. And so we have to ask the question, who do we fear more? The God who advocates for the orphan, or the adults who really want something and are willing to do, reprehensible things to get it? And for me, that then becomes a really good binary for me to say, yeah, I'm going to stick with the kid, because we all know that Christ talks about the millstone for those that cause the child to stumble. So I'm in safe territory when I advocate for the child.